Bourbon, Broncos, and No B.S. Fans, brews, and Broncos news. Welcome back to another edition of Bourbon, Broncos, and No B.S. Everyone, my name is Kevin, and I got the great, the wise, the fabulous Jared. How you doing, good sir?
Oh,
How
you're
today?
too nice to me, man. I appreciate that.
What can I do, man? Like, it's true though. You know, you got the wisdom, you got a lot going for you, man. You know, it's good to see.
Well, I appreciate that ego boost. I don't know if I need it, but I appreciate it nonetheless.
But you appreciate it.
I'm telling you what, man. This is this summer, going into this summer, where I already feel like it's been too long since the last Broncos game, and we still have a lot of road ahead of us. But I'm excited for the season.
96 days, guys.
Yeah, I'm excited for the off seasons. You know, obviously the team, as much as we don't like it, the team needs a lot of time to get together and gel, as Ayla used to say. You know, get their timing together, get everything back in, get some of these rookies, you know, some time in there, and see what they can put on the field. And this is the time to do it. This is the time to act on it. So I'm excited to see them working. That's for sure.
Yeah, totally agree. So everyone, hit that share button for us, hit the like button, hit your post your comments and questions. We want to hear what you guys have to say. But first off, Jared, I got some news for you here that I think is just really important. Breaking news that I saw today online. We got Aaron Rodgers getting signed by the Broncos, 5-year deal, and if it's on the internet, it's real, man. Right? Is that where we're at?
Okay, do I still have powers to remove you? I do. Okay, and now it's the Jared show because that was an absolute ridiculous.
No, but look, guys, like this is what you're talking about. Like we're so far from the season. Like it really sucks to just go through this and see all the clickbait while we're dying to see what these things come out of training camp and all that stuff, right? So
yeah,
but it's fun to be here and talk about Broncos and talk about stuff that is real, like OTAs. And Clayton is up in here. Glad to see you here, buddy. Post your comments, questions. Jose, good to see you here as always as well, buddy. The first thing I wanted to start with you, Jared, while we wait for some comments and questions to pop in. NFL.com came out with a list of ranking the quarterbacks. And our very own Bo Nix was ranked number 20 in the league. And I want to get your take on that before I talk about who are some of the quarterbacks ahead of him. And then we can see if you agree that that's still the right place or not. So number 20 for Bo Nix out of 32 quarterbacks in the league. What's your take there, buddy?
So 20 out of 32, that puts him in the bottom half, which I don't like. I think he's a lot more close to that half, even above that line. And really you only have in the NFL probably about 20 teams that have their forever quarterback, and a lot of teams are just trying some stuff out. I mean, the Browns have 5 permanent quarterbacks, so you know there's a lot out there. So I don't know if all 5 of them are ranked in that ranking too. But I definitely see Bo Nix being more of like a teens kind of guy. There's obviously a lot of quarterbacks ahead of him. Like, let's be honest, he's a second-year guy, and even as a second year, he's not even the best second-year guy going into this. Mm-hmm. So I'm not gonna put on too many blue and orange goggles, but I definitely think 20 is a little, I wouldn't say it's like a spit in the face, but I definitely think it's a little disrespectful. I think he's probably a little closer to the 15 to 18 range, 15 to 17 range.
Okay. Well, let's look at some of these names above him there. So at number 19, they have Dak Prescott, who played 8 games in 2024.
Yeah.
Apparently he's better than Bo in somebody's eyes. I don't know about that. It seems like a reach.
Yeah, I mean, so was Russell Wilson 5 years ago.
Right.
So are we judging 2025 Dak Prescott? Or are we judging? I don't know. And there's Dak is one of those guys that he's either good or he's not. And being injured a lot last year, maybe it gave him some time to rehone his skills. But the Cowboys believe in him.
Sure.
I'd see him being around Bo Nix because, again, one is proven with some injury problems. The other one's not proven. And I say not proven as in he's got one season going into his second season. There's always an option for the sophomore slump.
Okay.
But we'll see, right? I could see them being around the same, but I'm not like super mad that he got ranked above them. Like, be honest.
Right. Okay. Well, you're talking about experienced versus a year two kind of a guy. Let's look at a year two guy in Bryce Young, who was ranked number 16, 4 spots ahead of Bo Nix. And he played 14 games, lower percentage passing percentage, lower pass yards. What's going on there in Carolina with the Carolina Panthers? I know this isn't a Panther show, but it seems like they really, really believe in this Bryce Young guy, but are really hesitant still to look at Bo Nix as anything as more than, is he the real deal? We don't know. We're going to wait and see. It just kind of seems like a tale of two different quarterbacks with similar numbers. I don't know.
Okay, trying not to put on orange and blue. I was trying to give it to you straight. I want to say Bryce Young is a little more inconsistent than Bo Nix, but Bo Nix showed inconsistencies in his first year as well. Now, Bryce Young does have that extra year. I'm pretty sure he was drafted in 23, not 24. So he's going into his third year. Had most of the starts last year, so he has a little bit more experience. However, the Carolina Panthers are not good. They don't have the surrounding support that Bo Nix does. Would I love Bryce Young on my team? Absolutely. But I don't think he's a better quarterback in certain ways, right? And again, you have more that you've seen more from Bryce Young in his development. He's developed really well. And if he continues this development, he continued to develop in the second year very well. If he continues to develop in the third year, then yeah, maybe I could see it. But this goes back to that, okay, Bo Nix, really this rankings, from what it sounds like, he hasn't proven us anything yet. He still has to prove in his second year, which we believe, and I believe most of Broncos country believes, is not the case. I think he proved it well enough in his first year by the way that he improved over the season, including some of those down games that he had in the late season. Is going to be able to, if he continues that improvement, it's just going to get better and better, and he's going to be a top 10 in the next year.
That would be a sight to see. I mean, you're talking about Broncos country just kind of being on cloud 9 at that point and having a real solid understanding and foundation in knowing where the team is going, not having to worry about head coaching changeovers and quarterback changeovers and everything else. So,
right.
Let's kind of lead this into a conversation. I mean, we could break down all these quarterbacks, but we don't really care other than where Bo Nix is. So Clayton asked a good question as we're sitting here 96 days out from Broncos versus Titans in week 1 of the 2025 season. What are a few things that we are most excited about this year? And I'm going to open this to the question up to everybody watching as well. What are some things you guys are excited about?
Yeah.
And Jared, I'll let you start on that one, man.
I'm excited, obviously, and this is probably a good transition from the Bo Nix. I'm excited to see Bo Nix's improvement through an full off season with the same coaching staff and same threats for the most, right? He got an extra wide receiver in there, which everyone's really excited about, extra tight ends from Jacksonville. So, he's got a couple extra targets, but continuing to see him grow with Vele, continuing to see him grow with Cortland, and seeing how he can develop that. But I think my biggest one that I'm most excited for is how did we get better on defense when we are already a top 5 defense? And I think I just want to see this defense come in. We have a number 1, our first round pick is a defensive guy. We got 2 just absolute studs in our inside linebacker position and in a safety position. And now, I just think that it's going to be really hard to stop these for the Denver Broncos, anybody to score on the Denver Broncos this year, which will give Bo Nix a little bit more leeway and gives him a little bit more wiggle room to make mistakes, which means let's open it up. Let's let him see what he could do. And I think that's what I'm most excited for.
Yeah, I think you got 2 really good points there. I mean, players like 𝐓𝐫𝐚𝐢𝐧𝐢𝐬, Greenlaw, we haven't seen out on the field yet because he's still working back from that injury. But again, it's been said that he's going to be ready to go by the start of training camp. So we're going to expect to see a lot of them out there then. But to have this kind of revival of, it has to be seen yet, right? I'm not ready to crown this a no-fly zone type of defense yet, but the pieces are in place, right? That if they can come together and you add those additions of let's say Alex Singleton is able to come back and be as, monstrous as he is. He's in a contract year, so he has a lot to play for, and try to bounce back from this last year. What about Nick Bonito, man? He only kept getting better as well. Jonathan Cooper on this team. And so these are names, dude, that a year ago nobody recognized for the most part. And they're becoming more of a household name, at least in Broncos country. And the more teams we play, other teams are going and fan bases are going to recognize these guys are the real deal. It's just a matter of has to be seen yet first.
Well, I mean, go look at it. Going into the last 4 games of last season, you had Bonito being up there as one of the top defensive player of the year with the plays that he was making. And he became a household name overnight after the 2 interception game that he had. But, I think you're right. I think they just continuously got better. And then the staff that they're bringing in, I mean, they're bringing in people like some of the best players. I mean, Champ Bailey was at OTAs today or at the camp today, talking to PS2 and talking to some of these young guys. I think that the staff and what Sean Payton is doing is bringing in some of that experience to be able to help these guys out and build that defense to be the unstoppable force so that his offense can do what they need to do and maybe air it out a little bit more. Maybe if they make a mistake, it's not as killing for the team. And it's something that we haven't seen in a while. And it really, since the no-fly zone, the defense has kind of been there, but not really. Last few years, we've had a pretty good defense, but we just couldn't put points on the board. Now it seems like for the first time in I don't know how many years, we have consistency in the coaching staff, but we have a team that is fully built on defense and on offense, right? There's a lot of questions at the running back, and I wish David was here so he could yell at me for this. Still a lot of questions in the running back room on who's going to get the start and who's going to be playing there. But that's really only the questionable spot. I think we shored up tight end. We shored up, our wide receiver room has always been pretty decent other than a few drops here and there. Bo Nix is continuously getting better. So the offense and the offensive line hasn't changed. So they've been working together now for a couple of years. I think this is going to be a really good year for the offense, and with the same system, I just see it getting better and better.
Well, you mentioned the number of players returning. I don't know if you saw the stat on the number of players returning this year from last year and where the Broncos rank in that. Out of the 32 teams, the Broncos are at the top of the list with about 86% of players returning. And that is the highest returning rate than any other team out there. I mean, a lot of the top teams you see up there have, 80s and high 70s percentage. But the Broncos are leading the way. And that part of that is they're a young team and they're building through the draft. This is year 2 of the rebuild. But when you include pieces like the offensive line and players like Garrett Bowles, who've been on there for a while, these are guys that are bonding together. And that offensive line is such a crucial part of the offense. While there are questions to be answered, like you're saying, having that team that is playing together for an extended period of time makes a really big impact.
Yeah. So what we saw last year in a rebuild year was year 1 of a rebuild year for Sean Payton, right? Sean Payton was there the year before. This is his 3rd year, going into his 3rd year. He had the 1 year with Russ. Then he got his quarterback. He decided to make his change at quarterback and whatever. He kept that offensive line for the most part, right? Dalton Reisner, Garrett Bowles, all those guys are still there. He kept the offensive line. He thought they were pretty good enough to keep him around, and that hasn't changed much. And now you're seeing what we're seeing is he's finally got his pieces together from when he took over. Like, this is the 3rd year of Sean Payton, and he's getting towards the end of some contracts. He's letting some people go, whether we liked it or not. There were some people that left last year that we were like, ugh. There's some people this year that we let go that I was like, ugh. But for the most part, he's keeping his team together. This is his team. And we're going to see it starting this year. And I think last year was, I'm not going to say fluke. That seems like the wrong word, but we made the playoffs in a rebuild year. Like, how many teams can say that? And now we're going into it with like, okay, now this is his team. And at least he has the shell. Now he just got to fill the little pieces. And I don't see that many pieces that need to be filled. So it makes it us feel really good in the offseason going into it. Obviously, the national media is going to say something different, but I'm okay with it. And we have a very tough division, man. Like, that's the hardest part about this whole thing. Like, we got such a tough division. People were saying the Raiders are going to finish above us. I don't see that happening. The Chargers are a tough team. They got a coaching staff that's been there for a little bit now.
They talk up the Chargers and Justin Herbert every single year. They try to anoint this guy the next Peyton Manning before the season and what happens every year?
But again, they got a consistent coaching staff now.
For sure.
And Harbaugh has now been there for this is going into his third year, I believe, as well.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we got to look at that. Like he's going into his third year. He has his team now, right? He's made some changes there. So and not for nothing, they beat us out last year.
Yeah.
So like it is a tough division, and obviously you have Kansas City, who's always going to be a threat. And we're just all of us are over here crossing our fingers that they're going to start their downslide sometime soon. They can't be the king of the castle for too long. And one of us is going to have to take over, and it's a tough division. Like it's not as easy as some of these other divisions where it's like, okay, this team's on the up, this team's on the down, this is the person taking over. There's 3 teams vying for that spot. Now, I definitely don't think it's the Raiders in any way, shape, or form.
No.
But there's people out there that do, and good for them.
Yeah. No. Let's see what we got here. Roy, glad to see you here, man. Glad you're stopping in. What do you think about the Broncos going on? We got Jerry. How do you doing, buddy? Always good to see you, even if your team puffball. Let's see. It's getting late, so yeah, we'll let you go to bed before too long here. But we got some fun stuff to talk about. One thing that as we're talking about the teams, I would say that the Chiefs are either they've either peaked or they have already started their downswing. That still makes them dangerous. The Raiders have a longer ways to go. So I think it really is more than anything between the Chargers and the Broncos, and you got to loop the Chiefs in there. But, hearing things from Bo Nix and what he's saying, I really like the mentality here, right? If you hadn't seen one of the quotes he was talking about, he says there's somebody on the team that he's kind of, agreed to this where they remind each other, you're nobody yet. You haven't done anything yet. And he didn't say who it was. I would probably bet it's Pat Surtain. You're winning these awards and stuff and you're getting this recognition, but you're a nobody. You've done nothing. So they recognize where they're at. They recognize the path they have to go, and compete in this division, man. It is just brutal.
Yeah. I mean, we definitely have, and I think it's pretty straight across the board, the toughest division in the NFL. As much Bronco hate as there's been in the national media, as much Raider hate as there's been in the national media, this is a tough division, regardless of how you look at it. And we have a long way to go to get up there, and we have to start from the bottom. And we did. And last year, somehow we started from the bottom and made the playoffs. So if there's only one way to go is up, I'm so excited to see what happens.
For sure. Well, Raw here. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. And we talked about this on our schedule breakdown show a couple weeks ago, but we can talk about this and recap it a little bit again. Again, the way things, we're just going to look at it the way things stand now, and everyone's healthy and there's no wrenches thrown into the game plan. But there's a lot of people talking really highly of the Broncos, especially when you compare to this was a 5-win team last year, a 3-win team, right? So where are you sitting today, Jared? What's your prediction?
I'm gonna stick with it. I think we sit at 12 wins. I think we sneak a couple that we probably shouldn't win. We're going to be underdogs for a couple that we're gonna get through. I just think of the Kansas City game last year, missed field goal or blocked field goal, where we were 7-point underdogs in that game in Kansas City. Right, we're gonna win a couple of those. We're gonna get a couple of those games that they're okay, they're probably gonna lose this. I'm hoping it's Baltimore. I'm hoping it's Kansas City. One of those two for sure. And then we're probably going to drop a couple that we're really probably to the Chargers, right? We're going to be stop dropping games to the Chargers. This is ridiculous. But I do think we are a team that can get to 12 wins. I don't know if that's enough to win the AFC West. But I know it'll be enough to get second place in the AFC West. I think that we can do that. And that's honestly where I think we sit. If we could do that again on a second year of a rebuild, there's only up for this team. And not for nothing, I'll mention the healthy piece. Last year we played really healthy. If you look at overall status of teams and overall status of specifically the Broncos over the last 5-6 years, that was the healthiest year we've had in a long time. There's changes being made across the board that people don't really look at. And one of them is in the health aspect. We are staying healthy for the most part. I think we only had a couple players go down. We know we lost Pat Surtain for a couple games, but he came back. We lost
Alex Singleton was probably one of the bigger names from all season. And I'm not trying to diminish that, but when you're talking about,
the only one.
Yeah, he was the only one, really. long term. There was the running back that got hurt against the Jets. That we Bidet.
Bidet, yeah.
We thought like maybe he was, but it wasn't like he was a cornerstone part of the offense there, right? So
I mean, the injuries I think that really hurt us was when Pat Surtain went down. I think we dropped a couple. And I think oh man, I'm spacing on his name. Please someone correct me. Who's the other corner, the white guy that I love him.
Oh, Moss.
Yeah, Riley Moss. When he went down for a couple games, that also hurt us, right? So yeah, when we lose those cornerstone pieces, like those losses hurt when we lose a couple, but they were only down for a couple games. They were back within a couple games, which means that we're doing something right in the health aspect. And I'm hoping we keep it up again this year. And I think whatever we did last year, copy and paste it. Let's try to make sure that we keep everybody healthy. And I think if we stay healthy, I say 12 wins is not out of reach.
I think you're right, and 12 wins may not be enough to win the AFC West, and that is why I'm going to stick with 13. I think they totally overperform again, and part of it is the culture that they're building within that team. You do look at the injuries we had last year, and there is a resiliency in that team. Rookies going out there and making major impacts that you don't expect that kind of level of play from rookies. So from day one, these guys are going in there knowing that they could be called up any moment, and they are just prepared to go out there with moments notice and jump in and make meaningful plays. So they got a ton of experience last year, and so we're building real depth here as well. A couple of those wins last year, the Chargers game, if Pat Surtain hadn't gone down, that game very easily could have been a Broncos win. The Chiefs game, that field goal. So there's 2 more wins right there. So in a way, you could argue like, man, we were just, inches away from a 12-win season last year. I think that's very, that's very reasonable to suggest this year. And I would say that if we're driving to take the AFC West back, this is the return to dominance year, man. We find a way to get that 13th win. And so it's a lofty goal, but I don't think, 12 or 13 wins is too far off from what we saw last year.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm going to try to hit Vegas and see if I can hit right now. 9.5 wins is the Denver Broncos betting line, which considering last year, considering the schedule, I can see it where Vegas is standing on it. I'm going to hit the over. I really do think that this team has the capability of doing things, and if we can stay consistent, which I think a couple of those losses were just inconsistencies and a young quarterback and some blown defensive plays. If we can just keep those to a minimum, I do. There's no way that we don't get at least 10 wins. Like I think over 9.5 is definitely where we're at.
Well, Raw asks a really good question here. Do we think that there's a signature win on the schedule? He's looking at Eagles and Commanders. Eagles, I just do not know. Like if we were playing the Eagles in Denver, maybe, but playing in Philadelphia against the Super Bowl champs, Saquon Barkley actually has 2 curses going against him this year, being on the Madden cover and was it Offensive Player of the Year? Like there's 2 curses going on. So I don't know, like not hurting, but that is a long shot. The game that I'm glad he mentioned here is the game against the Commanders. Because Jaden Daniels versus Bo Nix, that is going to be hyped. And if we can walk away with that win and people can say Bo Nix won that first battle between the two, that is going to be monstrous for this team.
Yeah, I mentioned it on the schedule show that we did. I think that game's huge. And I love that you mentioned that because I also really am looking forward to that game. Yes, it's in Washington. Yes, it's going to be tough. But really, I think what we're going to be able to witness is the first Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen, the future of quarterbacks in the NFL. And that's Bo Nix versus Jaden Daniels. And I think that's going to be the first time we're going to be able to witness the future 2 quarterbacks that are going to be the top dogs. Because I really do believe in both of them. I don't think either one of them are going to have a sophomore slump. I think these guys are going to be really good for a while. And that's going to be the first game that they're going to play each other. And I think we're going to see plenty more of those to come.
Yeah. Paul here says, can you imagine if we beat the Bengals and Eagles back to back? I think that's kind of like what happened. We had that tough stretch early on the season last year where I can't remember who it was, but there were the 2 teams that were like, man, one was the Ravens and we played somebody else like right before that, right after them. We're like, if we could come away with at least one of the wins from these two games, that'd be huge. I think it's kind of a very similar situation here. Where hopefully the Broncos can look back and say, that, really kind of hurt us in the long run. If there's some way we can find a way to steal a win here, like what you're saying, Jared, that's even more momentum for these guys.
Yeah, well, we had, which is funny because we ended up stomping them, but we had Ravens, Chiefs, then Falcons in 3 games in a row. And at the time, remember, Falcons were on hot fire early in the season. And we ended up smoking them. But we of those 3 games, we're like, man. And then the Chiefs game, obviously, with the blocked field goal, we got smoked by the Ravens. But that being what it is, we almost won 2 of those 3 games. And then that's kind of where the turnaround happened, right? We ended up going on to win 4 in a row after that Falcons game. Lost to that Chargers game after that stupid free kick thing. And then we played the Bengals really tough. And then in overtime. And then obviously we dropped a couple going on, or I guess we dropped the Chargers and Bengals, and we needed only one of those to win before to get into the playoffs. And then we end up beating the Chiefs because they rest everybody. But it is what it is. We got in. I'm looking forward to the Bengals game. I think a rematch of that game was going to be really big. And I know the NFL is already started advertising it pretty heavy, using that overtime game as advertisement of like, man, this shootout was amazing. Let's watch it again. Let's do it again. But yeah, having to play the Bengals back to back versus, and then I think it's Bengals and who is it? Bengals and
Commanders.
We got
Eagles.
Oh yeah. So it's Chargers, Bengals, Eagles. It's going to be a tough stretch, and then we fly across the pond. It's going to be an interesting game. That's for sure. I don't know. I'm looking forward to the Eagles. It's hard, man. Jalen Hurts and that team is just operating on all cylinders, and it's really hard.
They are. Raw, this is a comment I didn't think I would see again. Speaking of the Bengals game, we should have gone for 2.
Oh man.
That game is just going to be it's going to be monstrous for both teams in the NFL in general. Jose, you've asked a couple times here. I'm just going to touch on this briefly. I know I joked at the beginning of the season, the show here. There's no Aaron Rodgers Broncos thing. Okay. If he goes anywhere, maybe the Steelers, but that's for a Steelers podcast to talk about. And Aaron Rodgers gets enough media attention as it is. So don't want to give him any more here.
He wants to play, and he's not going to play in the Broncos. Bo Nix is our quarterback. Like, he's got to go to a team that is questionable at quarterback. And right now, I think Pittsburgh is really his only landing spot. And I think even he's deciding, like, he doesn't know what he's doing. So he's not coming here. That's not going to happen. And we're not going to make the same mistake we did with Russ.
No, definitely not. Let's see. Raw here. If we get consistent run game, let's say top 10, do you think, like what are you expecting from this run game? What are you hoping for? Realistically, it's going to be interesting.
We're not going to be a top 10 run game. We don't run the ball enough.
Do you think even like top 20 would be enough to help Bo Nix out, or is that too low? Like, where do you think?
And I'll be honest, like there's a lot of hate in the run game, and you know how I felt about the run game last year, and a lot of people are looking at the stats and saying that we we're not getting the yards, we're not getting, like, all of our guys had over 4.5 yards per carry. Like, every single one of our running backs had over 4.5 yards per carry. So all the hate towards the running backs was kind of unfounded, other than one game. And I'll give you that. But like, I think the game plan for the Broncos is a pass, right? If we're going to have a top 10 running back, I can see that. If we have a top 10 running back, but that's going to be someone who's going to be catching on the outfield. Yeah, Sean Payton's going to pass the ball more than he's going to run it. If we can establish a run game, sure. But if we can establish a run game and a run pass catcher, then that's an extra person on the field that you have to worry about. And I just don't think we fully had that last year, at least not consistently, or we weren't using it enough. And I think that's what Sean's going to try to fix in the offseason. And yeah. Yes, Pookie did have 4.5 yards per carry. Let me see.
No, I pulled it up here. 3.7.
3.7. Okay.
So we got fact checked on air, but that's what we have a great audience.
3.7 is still better than most of the running backs in the league. Let's be honest.
Yeah. If you're averaging 3 yards, because if you think about it, 3 yards on first down, 3 yards second down, that's third and short, makes it very manageable. So that, that's the minimum I'd like to see, but as long as you're consistent about it. But there are a lot of things going there that I think the Broncos really recognize they need to address that run game and find ways to get a little bit more active in it. And if they can improve that, I mean, we don't need a dramatic improvement over last year, just something a little more consistent for Bo Nix to rely on, take some of the weight off of his shoulders. And you got to remember, he's going to have his own set of legs back too. Now that his back isn't broken anymore. And that's just going to open up the run game and pass game and everything. So, Paul, I'll give you a little salute there, buddy. Appreciate the, the fact check.
And not for nothing, Pookie did have that one game. I think he had 6 rushes for -2 yards. And again, everyone's going to blame him. If you looked at that game, and I'm gonna say it to the day I die, people need to stop looking at the game and saying Pookie sucks, right? Like if you looked at every time he got the ball, there was nowhere for him to go, literally ever. Every time he touched the ball, he was eaten up every single time. That was not on him. Anyways, I'll digress.
Here's the thing, Jared. Here's the thing that people need to remember: the Cowboys are coming to Denver. And Javonte Williams is talking. I've seen some of his quotes. He's saying he finally feels like he is fully healed from his injuries. And he feels like, 100% again for the first time, pretty much. And if you remember 100% Javonte Williams, that dude was carrying people 10, 15 yards down the field. He's coming to Denver. And if the Broncos are not they're not ready for him, you could see this guy really, try to shove it in the faces of the Broncos, coaching staff and front office a little bit and saying, you shouldn't have gotten rid of me.
Well, here's my thing. And this is why I love Javonte. If you see him, he's not going to do what, the wide receiver, why I cannot think of his name, that we drafted and then went to the Browns. He's not going to talk smack. He's not going to come in here and be I'm going to go in there and whoop up on him. He's going to prove it on the field. And I think getting rid of him was not the right move. And I think there was a lot of people that think it was. Cool. I wish him the best of luck. I hope he's a top 5 running back in the league next year. And I'm saying that because I think there's a possibility he could be. Now with Dallas, I don't know. They got a decent offensive line. Let's see what he can do. And, if Dak is struggling a little bit more and they run the ball as much as they should, I think it's a possibility. I really do think that he can go out there and be a top 5, maybe top 10 running back in this league.
Gary, I like that. Yeah, that one still burns, man. Anyway, guys, look, Jared, we are getting close to the end of the show here. So let's maybe start wrapping up with some closing thoughts. First off, everybody who's tuning in and watching, remember, really appreciate you doing it. This is why we do these shows, for you guys, and keep everybody together during the off season, especially. But we're here every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Time live for more Broncos talk, just updates. And training camp is like 6 weeks away, less than 6 weeks away, guys. These guys are getting active. They're getting together. And things are going to start, pieces are going to start falling in place, and it's just going to get more exciting every day we get closer, man. So let's see. Also remember that, Jared, I don't want to put you on the spot, but do we want to announce kind of some of the prize giveaways we're going to be doing this year?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Well, first off, if we hit 10 wins, and I say if because I do not want to jinx us, because it's our 10th anniversary, we will be giving away 3 Bo Nix jerseys. And the way to win those might involve you subscribing to all of our social medias. It might get you an entry for each one you subscribe to. So just saying, you might want to go get that done now before later. Making sure you're hitting like and following and commenting on the videos. That's going to help you out as well. But there's going to be other prize giveaways. Jared's going to pop up from time to time during the season with some trivia that if you guys are tuning in and ready for a quick trivia question, going to be winning some Broncos swag as well, man. So look, we got a lot of stuff coming down the pike. That's just, a couple of examples, but it's going to be a fun year, man. Yeah.
Think about playing some sort of like where in the world is Jared? Kind of like where in the world is Carmen Sandiego as I head out. But yeah, no, I'm excited for this year. 10 years running, man. Like we have come a long way, and I'm super excited to where Orange Weekly's come, where Bourbon Broncos No B.S has come, and where the Broncos have come. And we've had a tough 10-year slide, and so we're finally getting into an area that we could talk. We'd be happy about coming on the podcast and talking about the good stuff, and not there's another loss. What did we do wrong? So yeah, no, I'm really excited for the season. I'm sad that I'll be missing the first part of it. But I'll be back, hopefully by the time I get back, we're 6-0 and we're coming in strong. Trying try to make a game this year. We got to see if we can do maybe some Orange Weekly meetup at a game at some point this year. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff coming this year. 10 years running, and we're really excited about it. Thank you guys so much for following and continuing to watch us talk Broncos, and thanks for talking with us.
Yeah. 23,300 plus on Facebook. YouTube is going to be at 1,000, very quickly, I'm sure. I mean, those numbers are going up and up and up. Keith, no specifics were given. So we're good.
It'll be pre-recorded.
Good call out there. We are aware of that and making sure we're not putting anybody in a precarious situation. But no, it's going to be a fun time, guys. We're going to make sure that we keep Jared involved and the others involved as we go through this and really celebrating the 10-year mark. But we wouldn't be here if it weren't for you guys. So please continue to tune in and have fun with us, because we want to do this for another 10 years, and then maybe another 10 years after that. And I don't know, Jared, 10 years after that. I don't know. We'll see.
Keep going. See how long until we're old and gray. Let's go.
Old and gray. I mean, I'm already the gray is showing, man.
The gray's coming. Gray's coming. Yeah. I can't grow anything, so you don't know, but yeah.
Even when you're allowed to grow, it's a little slow. Nah, just kidding, man. Hey, let's do some closing thoughts here so we can wrap this up and just get back to our week. But hey, guys, Broncos football is right around the corner. So, Jared, what you got, man?
Yeah, I mentioned at the beginning of the show, and I think something we need to remember as we go into this offseason, the excitement that I have isn't about the young players. It's not about, the excitement around just a new season and getting to start from scratch. It's the excitement around that we have Sean Payton for our third year. And I think that's continuity. A lot of people aren't talking about that enough. And I don't know if it's because nobody really is looking at it, but he made a lot of changes that first year, right? At the end of his first year, he made a few changes this offseason. But like you said, we had one of the lowest amount of turnover this season. And it's because he's finally getting his team together. He's got his team that he wants, that he knows how to go and win with. And that's what's exciting about this season. I'm so excited for him to have a full offseason with the people he wants after having that 10-win team last year that got to the playoffs, even though we were supposed to be more than 5 wins. It's just super exciting to see. And like you said, there was a couple games that all we had to do was make a field goal or not get it blocked, whatever. There's a lot of things that we could have done to make it better, and that we're going to get better in that. The mistakes are going to get less. The experience is going to get more. And all of that coming together is going to culminate in the Denver Broncos taking over the AFC West again. And I think that happens the next couple of years, and we're here for it. We are going to be here for it with you guys, and we're stoked. Yeah.
Look, the Broncos, I think it was Bo Nix was talking, if not Sean Payton, I can't remember who, but they were talking about they feel like the Broncos have arrived. And for me sitting here, I got to see it first, right? I believe they're really becoming someone, but have they arrived? I don't know. But when you mention those close situations that they faced last year and some of those that fell on the wrong side and caused them to take that L away, those things should be incredibly powerful to them. Those should be incredibly motivational to say, look, we were not good enough last year. It wasn't by much, but we were not good enough. We have a long way. And then when you get to that playoff game, and as we wanted to see a closer score at the end of it, it really opened their eyes to say, this is what it takes to not just get to the playoffs, but to be somebody in the playoffs. And we have a long ways to go. And that's fine, because they got there and they have that motivation now to say, we are on the right path. We want to arrive, and we're going to get there. Return to dominance, man. I'm telling you, it is here, and you guys should be ready for it.
Stoked, man. Yeah.
Cool, bud. Well, hey guys, let's wrap this up. Our doink rate is 0.001%. Yeah, big brag. I like it. Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. We will see you next week on another episode of Bourbon Broncos No B.S. 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Again, make sure you're liking and subscribing to our YouTube, our Instagram, our Facebook. And so when we ask for some proof of that to get entered into some prizes, you'll be ready to go. But appreciate everybody tuning in, and we'll be back next week to talk more Broncos. So Jared, thank you very much, but I got nothing left to say other than end this, as we always do. I'm very strong. Go Broncos! Take care, guys.
Do what I like, yeah, I do what I like, yeah, I do what I like. Sipping goose, if it's right, and I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, yeah, I go with the flow, cause I know I'm the show. In the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, in the zone, here I go, yeah, they know